WikiLeaks revelations of anti-Christian bigotry of Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman, John Podesta, under fire. Bill Donahue, president of the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, says Podesta must now be fired. In light of the latest WikiLeaks revelations, she has no choice but to cut all ties with this man. The man is hell-bent on creating mutiny in the Catholic Church and must therefore be fired, Donahue charged Wednesday. We have long known that George Soros is the single most influential donor to dissident and anti-Catholic organizations, Donahue charged. Now we know from WikiLeaks what I long have suspected: John Podesta has been the most influential point man running a fence for Soros. Together, they have sought to manipulate public opinion against the Catholic Church. Podesta, a longtime Clinton advisor, confidant and hand-picked top activist for left-wing funder George Soros, revealed in a 2011 email that he and other activists were working to effect a Catholic Spring revolution within the Catholic Church, an obvious reference to the disastrous Arab Spring coups organized that same year by the Obama-Clinton-Soros team that destabilized the Middle East and brought radical Islamist regimes and terrorist groups to power in the region. The Podesta email is a response to another Soros-funded radical, Sandy Newman, founder of the Progressive Voices for Progress. Newman had written to Podesta seeking advice on the best way to plant the seeds of the revolution in the Catholic Church, which he described as a Middle Ages, sick dictatorship. The issue that appeared to be the cause of Newman's email was opposition by U.S. Catholic bishops to the federally mandated contraceptive coverage in Obamacare. In his email of February 10, 2011, Newman writes, "There needs to be a Catholic Spring, in which Catholics themselves demand the end of a Middle Ages dictatorship and the beginning of a little democracy and respect for gender equality in the Catholic Church. Is contraceptive coverage an issue around which that could happen? The bishops will undoubtedly continue the fight." Newman admits that since he's not a member of the Catholic Church and doesn't understand its workings, he doesn't qualify to be involved. But he still very much wants to see the revolution go forward. He writes, "Of course, this idea may just reveal my total lack of understanding of the Catholic Church. Even if the idea isn't crazy, I don't qualify to be involved and I have not thought at all about how one would plant the seeds of the revolution, or who would plant them. Just wondering." John Podesta responded the following day, writing, "We created Catholics in Alliance for the Common Good to organize for a moment like this. But I think it lacks the leadership to do so now. Likewise Catholics United. Like most spring movements, I think this one will have to be bottom-up. I'll discuss with Tara. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend is the other person to consult." Catholics in Alliance for the Common Good and Catholics United are two of the many Soros-funded Catholic activist groups that push the progressive agenda: abortion rights, homosexual marriage, LGBTQ through 12 education, women priests, etc., inside the church. The Catholic League's Bill Donahue describes how Chris Courtson of Catholics United tried to get him kicked off of an appearance on CNN and then initiated an IRS complaint against him, Donahue, in an effort to intimidate. Donahue writes, "See the connection: Podesta creates Catholics United, Soros funds Catholics United, and Catholics United sponsors an IRS complaint against me, after trying to get me kicked off CNN. Their attempt to intimidate me was a monumental failure, but the fact that they tried is what counts." Archbishop Chaput and those backward Catholics. Archbishop Charles J. Chaput, the Catholic Archbishop of Philadelphia, weighed in on the Podesta emails in his weekly column that appeared on October 13. Titled "About Those Unthinking, Backward Catholics," the Archbishop related a story about being visited by representatives of the Soros-Podesta AstroTurf Group, Catholics United, when he was Archbishop of Denver. Archbishop Chaput recounts, "Back in 2008, in the weeks leading up to the Obama-McCain presidential election, two young men visited me in Denver. They were from Catholics United, a group describing itself as committed to social justice issues. They voiced great concern at the manipulative skill of Catholic agents for the Republican Party. And they hoped my brother bishops and I would resist identifying the church with single-issue and partisan, read, abortion, politics. It was an interesting experience, says the Archbishop. Both men were obvious flacks for the Obama campaign and the Democratic Party, creatures of a political machine, not men of the church, less concerned with Catholic teaching than with its influence. And presumably, for them, bishops were dumb enough to be used as tools, or at least prevented from helping the other side. Yet these two young men not only equaled but surpassed their Republican cousins in the talents of servile partisan hustling. Thanks to their work, and activists like them, American Catholics helped to elect an administration that has been the most stubbornly unfriendly to religious believers, institutions, concerns and liberty in generations. Washington Post, mainstream media, they're only joking around. Since the release of the latest damaging WikiLeaks emails, the pro-Clinton mainstream media have protected their candidate by burying news about the troublesome communiques under an avalanche of lurid stories about Donald Trump's decade-old lewd comments and a new series of sensational sex charges. To the extent that stories on the emails have emerged in the controlled pro-Hillary media, they usually have followed the pattern of either being dismissed as a Russian provocation, or discounted as inconsequential. According to the Washington Post, the inflammatory emails revealing top Clinton officials speaking derisively about evangelical Protestants and plotting against the Catholic Church is nothing for voters to be concerned about. They were just joking. This is hardly surprising, of course, since the Post, which is vehemently anti-Trump and pro-Clinton, has a concentrated interest diverting attention away from these revelations, noting that Catholic voters are an important factor in key swing states. Washington Post writer Sarah Pulliam Bailey's attempt to dismiss the subversive scheming and bigoted comments of Team Clinton, entitled WikiLeaks emails appear to show Clinton spokeswoman joking about Catholics and evangelicals, is a feebly disguised effort at damage control. The latest batch of documents published by WikiLeaks appears to show Hillary Clinton's campaign communications director joking with a confidant about Catholics and evangelicals in emails sent to John Podesta, chairman of Clinton's campaign, says Bailey, reinforcing the message in the title. Just joking, that's all. Nothing to get in a twist over. Nothing to see here, don't pay attention. Move along. The Post article begins its diversion by first focusing on a 2011 email exchange between Clinton campaign communications director Jennifer Palmieri and left-wing activist John Halpin. It is less incendiary than the Podesta-Newman exchange and offers the opportunity to hide the subversive Podesta-Newman revolution rhetoric down at the end of the article. At the time of the email in question, Palmieri was president of the Center for American Progress, CAP, the Soros-Podesta-Clinton think tank, and Halpin was a CAP senior fellow. Many of the most powerful elements of the conservative movement are all Catholic, many converts. From there, Supreme Court, and think tanks to the media and social groups, Halpin wrote. It's an amazing bastardization of the faith. They must be attracted to the systematic thought and severely backwards gender relations and must be totally unaware of Christian democracy. Palmieri responded that she believes many influential conservatives are Catholic because they think it's the most socially acceptable politically conservative religion. Their rich friends wouldn't understand if they became evangelicals, she wrote. These are just some of the thousands of potential election bombshells released by the WikiLeaks organization, in their recent dumps of thousands of Clinton Podesta emails. The Post's Bailey, like many of her liberal left big media colleagues, is obviously concerned about the possibility of Catholic voter blowback over the emails. While they once voted primarily with the Democratic Party, they have become divided in recent years, with many voting Republican because of issues such as abortion and same-sex marriage, she writes. This time around, They are an important swing vote in such states as Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. Bailey quotes Raymond Arroyo, lead anchor and managing editor of EWTN, the global Catholic network, who said the new revelations tip the balance for people who were still undecided. "If you have people on the fences, it is irritating," she quoted Arroyo as saying, noting that the Catholic Spring references will especially rub Catholics the wrong way. "It makes it seem like you're creating organizations to change the core beliefs of the church," he said. "For someone to come and say, 'I have a political organization to change your church to complete my political agenda or advance my agenda,' I don't know how anybody could